Vital magnetism and the human magnetic field. My friends, we're going to dive into, take a really deep dive into vital magnetism and how this relates to regeneration and physical health, bioevolution and activation, and really heightened states of consciousness. Vital magnetism, there is so much here. Essentially, I want to describe the vital magnetic field of the human body and how we need to relearn how to harmonize this field. Because our magnetic field, my friends, is the field of life force in which we sit in. This field is our protector. It is our first defense against disease, against, dangerous situations, against toxic frequencies. Our vital magnetic field is essentially the filter in which we perceive and experience reality through. That is my understanding of this bubble of reality in which we exist in. And that is the vital magnetism of the human body. Now, vital magnetism is another way of saying the subtle energetic body, okay? Essentially, my friends, you can measure this scientifically, but I'm going to just spit raw throughout this video. Hit that like button. We're about to dive in. So, we are a tetrapolar magnet, meaning we have a negative polarity and a positive polarity at both the top and the bottom, right? And this, with the spine rising through the middle, right, which the Tesla coil wraps around, we are a living Tesla coil. And we emit so much energy that's measurable, okay? Here's the thing. This vital magnetism, it manifests itself, through like the meridians, through the chakra system, through the Kundalini, however you want to look at it. But essentially by restoring harmony to our vital magnetic field, right? We restore harmony to the entire physical vehicle and unlock essentially evolution in our DNA. We unlock heightened states of consciousness. And this is really the key. So we're going to be referring to the magic wand of the spine, breathwork here, and essentially how to repolarize our magnetic field. So in the modern day, in modern Western medicine, right, we don't even take in consideration the magnetic field and the fact that our vitality, our health is largely rooted in the more subtle bodies, okay? Let's say there's a disease, in the liver. That disease would manifest itself as a disharmony in the entire field that is connected to the liver and all the meridians that run through that liver area, right? And instead of trying to, take a pill to fix the liver, what we can actually do is start to breathe into the original blueprint of our vital magnetic field. You see, any disease, right? Any impediments in the physical body, any degeneration in the physical body is essentially a divergence from our original blueprint. We have an original blueprint of perfect harmony. When a baby is born, they have a perfect vital magnetic field. And in that vital magnetic field, all their organs are singing in harmony. All the channels and tubes of the body are open and flowing, which allows this energy to move and permeate through us, which transfers life force that permeates through our whole being. That's vitality. That's our natural born inheritance, my friends. Health and vitality is not something we have to buy, right? It is our inheritance. We must realign with that blueprint. To realign with that blueprint, my friends, would mean in your life that essentially like life force, vitality, protection from disease, protection from inharmonious frequencies, from dangerous situations would all be mitigated because of this field. This field in which we are emitting out is essentially like our reality bubble. It is the filter in which we experience reality through. And I would say if water holds memory, that this water in the firmament per se, this waters energetically hold all of our memory. Our vital magnetic field is the sum total of our thoughts, feelings, emotions, traumas. Everything stored in the physical body is stored in that energetic body. So by learning to breathe and repolarize our vital magnetism, repolarize, right, the being, We can restore vitality to the magnetic field. And our magnetic field is very weak in the modern day, right? We lack virtue. We lack like integrity inside the being. There's so many toxins, poisons, consumption. There's a mess out here right now, my friends. And when it comes to healing and regeneration, this is essential knowledge. So please share this video. Please hit that like button. And this is just the first video on the human magnetic field. So my friends, we're a tetrapolar magnet, but we're going to look at the spine in a more simple way, as the top being a positive pole and the bottom being a negative pole, right? We breathe in, right? And we breathe down the spine and we breathe into that negative pole and we breathe all the life and energy down with us, right? All the life and energy of the universe. When we exhale, right? The energy rises up, right? To that positive pole and shines forth. When we exhale, the energy rises up and we actually we draw the energy up from the bottom of the spine, right? As we exhale. And by doing breath work, we can actually begin to repolarize the Tesla coil of our spine. You see, my friends, we are depolarized right now internally, meaning that like essentially we don't breathe and do the breath work and create the concentration of energy that creates a very strong magnetic field. But right now we breathe shallowly. Our energy is dispersed, right? And it's also very concentrated in the body. It's in fact stuck in the physical body. Our life force energy, which should be like literally the most powerful sun emanating around us, blocking out anything that isn't a frequency with it, right? All that life force is trapped inside a dark vehicle. Because our vehicle is dark, all the tubes cannot flow any longer, okay? Let me dive into that for a second. We are a system of tubes, my friends. Physically, we look at the skeletal structure, the circulatory structure with the veins and arteries, right? We look at the lymphatic system. We look at the nervous system, right? We look at the meridian system. We are a system of tubes. We are a rubber band ball, my friends. And because we live in disharmony with the macrocosm, right? The microcosm goes into disharmony. When the microcosm goes into disharmony, impediments arise in the spine and magnetic field. That looks like blockages in the flow of chi through the body, blockages in the flow of blood, in the flow of nutrients, in the flow of lymph or cell waste out of the body, right? If we look at the brain, it's a system of tubes. If we look at the intestines, it's a system of tubes. And when a tube gets clogged, how do we unclog that, right? Well, the body is very smart. The body is very intelligent. And also the body holds an original blueprint, an original framework. Call it your source code DNA. But the thing is we live out of alignment with that source code. We live out of alignment with the macrocosm in our nature, right? And all of a sudden, the spine gets crooked. Blockages occur, right? And because of that, our source code kind of gets like altered, right? All of a sudden there's disharmony in the field around us, and therefore the Kundalini energy cannot rise up the spine. Consciousness is locked into the body. When consciousness is locked into the body, it gets locked into these lower centers, which have to do with fight or flight, right? With anger and frustration, right? With consumption, eating, thinking about food, cravings, lust, addictions. Our consciousness gets consumed by worry, by doubt, literally an emotional trauma stuck in the body because we're living with our life force centralized, right, in the lower centers of the body. And that life force is no longer circulating around us as this glowing sun, this impenetrable magnetic field, but is trapped in the body, and our consciousness is trapped with it. Because of that, my friends, because of that life force and subtle energy being trapped, this manifests, how I was talking about all the tubes of the body. Well, these tubes get clogged, okay? To unclog the tube, we must return to the original blueprint and repolarize the energy. Essentially, my friends, if you go watch one of my last videos on the hidden knowledge of breathwork, I talk about how when we breathe in, right, and we breathe down the spine, and we breathe in all the life and energy of the universe, right, through our whole body, and we breathe it in to our lower Dantian center, right, and then we pressurize the whole vehicle. We hold that inhale, right, and we pressurize our abdomen, we pressurize our perineum, we pressurize, essentially all the muscles around your anus, and this will slowly start to lift the energy, but it also creates pressure. When we put pressure onto a tube, we create a pressurized environment. Call it a polarized environment if we look at, neuroscience. And then we exhale. We exhale into presence and we witness. We allow our body to fully become empty, right? And relax into emptiness. When we hold that exhale, what happens, my friends, is all of a sudden all this energy that was just creating pressure, let's say on our intestines, goes away, and now there's space created. And by doing this enough, creating pressure and then depressurizing, creating a high pressure atmosphere, then a low pressure atmosphere, the tubes will start moving again. Especially when you start applying the subtle energy work of learning to breathe through all the tubes, through all the pores of the body, learning to breathe with the whole body. So we're really drawing in life force and then shining forth like a sun. So when we inhale all the power and energy of the universe, right? And then we exhale and we witness and we pull up the fire. We witness the light shining forth, right? We exhale into presence, we inhale into life, we feel alive. By doing this over and over and over again, essentially you are repolarizing the body while creating flow again back in the nervous system, back in the tissues, in the skeletal system, in the circulatory, in the lymph. By doing breath work, your lymph will drain. Your circulation will open up. Inflammation will go down, right? Energy that's locked in lower states of consciousness, lower in the body, will start to rise up, and all of a sudden you will find presence, a presence that is fully inhabiting the body, okay? When your presence is fully inhabiting the body, you are actually feeling and aware and one with your nervous system, right? And through that, you can start to tap into the subtle energy flowing all around you. This is literally the key to magical healing, magical regeneration. My friends, if a trained magician came up to you, like a really great occultist, someone like Franz Barden, and put his hand on you, and through his trained will, right, and magical perception, essentially acute awareness of the vital magnetism of all things, he could find your source code blueprint, right, and charge his will, train his will into that, right, and restore your vital magnetism to that blueprint. Miraculous healing does exist. So many people have claimed to be able to do this, and it's through vital magnetism, right? So by learning to breathe and polarize the vehicle, right, and essentially ascend the Kundalini, right, from the locked consciousness down here, and ascend and rise that energy up, right, we will start to create an open channel for the vital magnetic field to cycle through us and grow bright. We will liberate our consciousness. We will liberate our life force from being trapped in the physical body and start shining forth. Okay? This is like the antidote to all disease, to all, negative toxic frequencies that come into your life. In fact, I think a lot of dangerous situations with animals or with maybe a car on the highway or anything like that literally can't even enter that reality, because where space doesn't exist in vibration, in frequency, right? It won't even enter into that sphere of awareness. It won't even enter into that experience. That's kind of how I see the vital magnetic field, as like literally this programmed energetic like memory water, right? And it is the filter in which we perceive and experience reality through, and it's also carrying our life force. So it's so powerful, right? It's so powerful to realize the vital magnetic field and learn to breathe and let the vital magnetism permeate through you. So we're liberating life force from the physical body. We're ascending the energy, right, by doing inhaling into the base, right? Breathing through your whole body, through your hands, through your feet, everything as if it was your lungs, and you're drawing all the prana into that lower dantian center, right? As if it was the heart of prana. And then you're exhaling and you're witnessing the energy rise up, right? You're pulling the energy up, compressing your diaphragm, bringing your diaphragm in, pulling the energy up and drawing it forth into the headspace where it emanates, and you witness the light shining forth. Okay, go watch my last video on a really powerful basic breathing technique where we go into Tumo. Okay, we essentially go into how to breathe into the microcosmic orbit, right? And by establishing that microcosmic orbit, right, and visualizing it, my friends, essentially energy work. If you haven't done energy work and you're unfamiliar with this concept, energy work, we have breath work, right? Breath work, I see it as through the physical or heavy breath. So we have a physical breath or a heavy breath through the lungs, but we also have a subtle breath. This is the breath of light, okay? The subtle breath is through the vital magnetic field. The subtle breath is perceived through a sixth sense. It's very subtle, right? But by doing more and more breath work and slowing down and breathing deeply, right? And focusing on the sensations at the edge of your perception, you can start to begin to be tapped into the subtle breath and learning to breathe and move chi. Essentially, energy goes wherever our awareness flows, right? Energy or chi will start to cycle, right? In a microcosmic orbit. If we breathe in and imagine the energy coming down, or the downward triangle of the Merkaba, my pen's broken right now, right? And then we breathe out and we witness the fire rising. By having that intention, by visualizing that chi is already flowing there. More kudos to you if you can visualize that and even perceive it. Begin to perceive by breathing into that visual, right? Getting very subtle and feeling that flow. Essentially, just like throwing a baseball, after a long time, you'll develop an intuitive connection with that subtle energy and how to move it through your body, right? So to do that, start with Tumo. Start with Tumo breathing. Also, just go check out my basic training, breathwork, energy work package. It's completely free, link in the description for that, or just go check out my playlists, right? As we begin to be more tapped into the vital magnetism, essentially what we can do is inhabit the waters, right? By inhabiting the waters all around us, right? While feeling the physical body, we can breathe in and literally witness our field, right? Flowing into us. And then we exhale and we allow the murkiness to resettle, to reharmonize. Essentially, we are trying to re-pattern our magnetic field to the original perfect harmony. Our body sings. Each organ has a different frequency, a different vibration that emanates, right? When Solomon played the 10 spheres up to God, right, and spoke with the lips of his heart, and like God answered his prayer, he was playing the 10 spheres of his organs in perfect harmony. That's why any prayer is answered, because you have power over vital magnetism. Therefore, you can influence your field and the field around you. The field of objects, the field of people. You can influence the filter of reality. Okay. So Tumo breathing was kind of a fire path. Okay. As breathing in, pressurizing and pulling up the energy, right? Then we have full body breathing. Full body breathing is the water path, and this is where real activation happens, and this is where no one else is really going to talk to you about. No one else is going to lead you here much. Full body breathing, my friends, is breathing through all the pores of your skin. Breathing in as if your whole body was your lungs. And what we want to do is breathe in so subtly, so deeply, so fully, right? Into the whole body, and then hold, very softly, and feel all the pressure equalize. Equalize. You see, we have void spots in the body where things aren't flowing, right? And then we have tight spots where we compensate for that void. What we must do is breathe in and imagine we're breathing through all the sensations, all the pores of the body, breathing into the whole body, and then we hold. See what opens up when you hold. See what, flows. Focus on the sensation in the subtle awareness at the edges of your perception, right? And essentially by doing this, you'll get into a trance. You'll get into a breathing trance where you're cycling vital magnetism, liberating the energy, right? And essentially blending thyself with the cosmic light. All form holds disease. All form, the moment it's formed, right, is slowly withering and decaying. Okay? But when we return to the source blueprint, which is held in our vital magnetic field, the toroidal field, which is literally the source of all things, when we return to that and breathe in and charge that field from the ocean of cosmic energy in alignment with the macrocosmic harmony, right? When we breathe in and charge that field with that order, right? And then we exhale and we allow that energy to permeate through our whole entire body, right? Our form will begin to transform because we're in trance and we're forming. We're reforming. We're blending thyself with cosmic light. We're blending thyself, with the ether. So many of the mystery schools, of the esoteric texts, of, whatever it is, yoga, meaning union with God, religion, also meaning union with God, right? Whatever school, train of thought you're talking about, all the thing is about becoming the sun. This is why sun worship is so powerful in so many cultures. Why do they worship the sun? Because the sun is the symbol of the great light manifested into material reality. The sun is a portal of the ether, right? Brought in as if in-breathed, like inhaled, right? And then exhaled, shining forth as material like light that we can see. There's a hidden light that comes in on an inhale, and then it's exhaled. And this is happening simultaneously. That's what the sun is. It is a living, pumping node of etheric energy. Like God is living within it, and it is living within God. That's what Jesus Christ is, or the sun symbol, right? That sun symbol occurs when we learn how to flow the vital magnetism back through the body, learn to perceive it, learn to intuitively work with it, right? And then start charging it, liberating consciousness from the body and allowing our body to fall back into the perfect harmony of the original blueprint that's straight in the back. All the tubes are wide open, right? Where vital life force is permeating and radiating through the body at all times. Okay, my friends, we dove deep there. So much on vital magnetism. Please hit that like button and share this video to someone it's going to impact. It's the only way that my videos get seen, get found, is by word of mouth, is by you guys sharing it and liking it. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this vital knowledge on magnetism and the human magnetic field. I think this stuff is tremendously important. So yeah, if you guys want to talk to me, go deeper, you can apply for a free one-on-one chat with me. Link in the description for that. Again, Breathwork Basic Training Package, also free. Link in the description for that. Thanks for being here, my friends. Breathe deep. Peace.